Chapter 3 The Tale of Two Overachieving Professionals. For his entire summer vacation, Izuku found himself bored out of his mind. He had been looking forward to the vacation, but it turned out to be nothing like he had hoped. His brain was hardwired to wake up early, so he couldn't sleep until the afternoon like he wanted to. His friends were busy with hero work, so he wasn't able to enjoy cold beers on the beach of Okeana. In fact, after the other day, he didn't even want to touch beer, as he woke up from the worst hangover he had ever had in the 24 years of his living. So instead, his days were filled with preparing a new curriculum, working out, meeting his friends for other occasional dinners, or visiting home to see his mother. Every now and then, he'd think about Ian. After overcoming his lethal hangover, he remembered parts of that night. Yin, the two strange men, her nearly breaking his hand, all the while casually smoking. She had an immense aura that he was very aware of, but he had no idea that she was strong enough to make two grown men drop to his knees, and he didn't even look like a weak one either. If he wanted to, he would probably overpower her. But Izuku shivered every time her face appeared in his mind. If Yin knew how often he thought about her, she'd probably kill him. He felt like a guilty teenage boy thinking naughty thoughts, except his thoughts were far from nasty, and he was no longer a teenager. When preparing his breakfast before leaving for work, he received a phone call from his mother. "Izuku, baby, good morning!" Inko beamed on the other line. "Hey, Mom, good morning. What's up?" he asked as he held the phone against his ear and, with his shoulder, pouring creamer into his thermos of hot coffee. "You've been doing such a great job, Izuku. I saw on the news the other day your students speak so highly of you. You really are making a difference." "Oh, right, the news." A few of his students from his previous class that graduated in the spring had made an appearance on television. They had just completed a huge investigation and gave Izuku a shout-out for being the reason why they were able to unlock their potential as heroes. "I saw it, and it made me so happy." Izuku smiled at his mother's words. "You never stop working hard. You're amazing. It's because of you that the next generation of heroes will be so wonderful." "I hope so." He chuckled to himself. "You are eating well, though, aren't you? I understand that you want to work hard for these kids, but do remember to take breaks every now and then." He bit the inside of his cheek irritably. First, Bakugo and Todoroki, now his mother, were telling him to pump to the brakes. But if he slowed down now, who else was going to do his job for him? He loved his job as a teacher, but it was very demanding. Taking breaks didn't exist if you wanted to teach the next generation of heroes. "I gotta go to work, Mom. Thanks for checking in on me. And I will take breaks." Eager to get back to work, Izuku cheerfully strolled through the hallways, offering warm greetings to the students passing by. The air buzzed with lively chatter as children shared their excitement about returning to their studies and training. Some proudly displayed vacation photos, their friends gasping at the sub-diving snapshots, and extravagant foreign food dishes. Others huddled by the windows whispering gossip, with cupped hands, sun-kissed skin, and fresh haircuts were scattered throughout the crowd, making the signs of summer well spent. Aizawa walked out of his office, finding Izuku in the crowd. "Perfect timing. Can we talk with you for a sec?" "Sure." Izuku jogged over to him, Aizawa opening his door to allow him inside. Leaning against the desk was, I'm gonna butcher his name, Nosawa Tosugiri, the lead detective and senior officer with the Japanese police force. He was dressed in a casual uniform with a black shirt and cargo pants, a unity belt wrapped around his waist. "Oh, Tsusashi, good morning," Izuku greeted them happily. Aizawa closed his office door behind them. The detective gave a kind smile. Good morning, Midoriya. How's teaching going? It's going great. Start of a new term. Did you need help on another case? Well, sort of, except it's not a case. Tashinori rubbed his scruffed beard along his jawline anxiously as he looked off to the side. More like an intention. What? Midoriya whispered, looking at Aizawa for more information. You know Ladybug. She teaches ethics and law with a business course and self-defense elective. Yes, she's a nice lady. A good hero, too, Izuku replied. Well, she's currently on maternity leave for the next 2.5 months, so a new teacher is taking her place. We were struggling to find heroes who were able to step away from their agencies or current duties to take her place, and Toshiaki referred someone perfect for the role, except he decided to lie to our new candidate. I didn't lie. Tashinori threw up his hands. I just told a little fib. What did you lie about? Izuku asked, suspicious. The person I referred is an undercover cop for a living, so she thinks she's coming here today to take on the role of a teacher for a case. There is no case, Tashichi. Aizawa glared. Is she even still gonna want to do it? Don't worry, she'll have no choice. Besides, she's been working way too hard for task force. She's been taking on case after case for the past year. No vacation, no breaks. Undercover work is heavy, Aizawa said. Why is she overworking herself? Are you short of detectives? Quite the opposite. Something happened on a previous case around this time last year. I believe she's keeping herself busy to avoid thinking about it. Or maybe she's trying to prove something. It's a long story, and not mine to tell, but I've been her supervisor since she first joined. I care about her. I want her to take on this position to relax a bit, but also build character. She's a bit of a... how do I put this? A glacier. Glacier? Aizawa and Izuku muttered at the same time. Well, she's pretty cold. Hardcore. Did I mention cold? She's nearly impossible to move. She's independent and stubborn, craving her own path no matter how many obstacles stand in her way. I guess you could expect that from a cop. Izuku mumbled to himself, massaging his chin. Anyway, Midoriya, I brought you in because when she comes, she'll find out what she's actually here for. And she won't be happy. But you're probably the most likable teacher here, so I want you to give her a tour of the school, Aizawa explained. Izuku nodded. Oh, okay, sure. A knock came from the door, and Toshiaki pushing himself off the desk to answer. Okay, now, everyone, brace yourselves. Let's give her a very warm welcome, okay? She's going to try and run away, but don't worry. I know how to deal with it. Aizawa and Izuku sweat-dropped. Run away? I feel so bad butchering his name. Toshiaki opened the door, revealing a woman dressed in a familiar casual uniform as him. Izuku recognized the sparkling, dewy-like irises that stared back at him, shocked. Oh, it's you! Izuku gaped. Yin's eyebrows snapped together while her boss closed the door behind her. Aizawa turned to his coworker. You know her? Kind of. She's the guardian of one of my students, Atara Shuzumi. Oh, the top-ranking freshman? Aizawa recalled. Izuku then turned back to Yin and examined her, watching Toshiaki drape an arm around her and pulling her into a side hug. It started to look more like a way to restrain her from what he was about to say. After a moment, Izuku finally put the puzzle pieces together, and his jaw dropped. Wait, she's the undercover cop? Yep, this is Yen Lin, senior detective of the police task force. Detective, you're not a bartender? Bartender? Toshiaki repeated, his finger he then snapped his fingers. Remembrance. Ah, you mean a last stop. She was working undercover at a restaurant to catch some crooks who were drugging girls with special cigarettes. Thanks to Yin, she placed a tracker on them, and we caught them in no time. Izuku recalled Yin smoking in the alleyway and talking to two men. After watching him writhe in pain a bit, Yin let go of his hand. She patted his shoulder, as if they were friends, dismissing him from the scene. Crazy bitch. Why didn't it work? She almost broke my damn hand. Patting his shoulder. She placed a tracker on them when she did that. And they must have been talking about the cigarette and why it didn't affect her. It all makes so much sense now. Sir, can you explain to me what's going on? Yen finally spoke, her voice low with irritance. She grabbed his forearm, trying to peel it off her shoulder, but was unable to escape from her boss's clutch. Well, detective, as you know, you're here to take on the role as a teacher, yes? Yeah. There is a case I'm investigating here? Well, about that. There is no case. As of today, you're a UA staff member. The room had fallen silent. After a few seconds, Yin finally attempted to leave the room. Well, to escape, really. However, practically already knowing this would happen, Toshihachi held her close against him, practically choking her neck with his arm as he smiled at Izuku and Aizawa. Don't worry, this reaction is normal, he exclaimed while Yin snapped his arm as she begged to be let free. Oh, they thought. This is what they meant by running away. By the looks of it, this wasn't the first time Yin had been manipulated into a job she didn't want to take. Yin finally wriggled free, pulling herself from under Toshihachi's arm. She held her throat, gasping for air angrily. No way! I'm not being a fucking teacher! Again, don't mind her. He ignored her as he slapped a palm over her mouth and continued talking to them, which only made her angrier. She's actually very kind. She'll just need settling into for this new role. She's usually a lone wolf and struggles to talk with other human beings. She pried his hand off. I do not suck at talking to people. I never said you sucked, just that you weren't the strong suit. But if the shoe fits... Shut it! Izuku observed their back and forth, noticing the shift in Toshinori's demeanor. Normally strict in all business, he seemed like a laid-back boss who enjoyed teasing his officer. They must have known each other for years or worked on multiple cases with each other to be so comfortable with each other, despite the difference in their rank. I'm a detective, sir, not some tutor for teenagers. I'm not doing it. Fine, you don't have to, but you'll be unemployed for the next 2.5 months. Huh? According to the Handbook of Police Task Force, there are regulations against agents returning to undercover work after assuming a public-facing role within the first 75 days to prevent compromission of the agent's safety, the integrity of ongoing operations, and avoiding leaks. And since you already have been hired on as a teacher, you must wait till 75 days before stepping down and returning to the police force. He smiled, repeating the guidelines as if he was reading it from the handbook himself. Wow, he really made sure she had no choice. Izuku thought with concern. This must have been the only way she would step away from undercover work by force. Yin's eye twitched. Sir, with all due respect, I'm going to snap your neck if you make me teach at the school. I belong on the task force. And you'll still belong on the task force after those 75 days. Toshihachi gave her a warm smile as if to calm her down, his expression softened, attempting to convince her that this situation was not as detrimental as she believed it so. Think of this as any other job, just without investigating. The other detectives will continue the case being sent in. This school needs a teacher to fill this position. Besides, you already memorized the curriculums left behind by the previous teacher to prepare. You help society every day. Why not help out some kids? Izuku observed the ways Yin The way Yin's dewdrop irises seemed to sparkle more than they did before. It wasn't obvious, but it looked as though she was attempting not to cry. "Why me?" she whispered, her gaze falling to the floor. "I can't be a teacher. Not right now." "Something happened on a previous case around this time last year. I believe she's keeping herself busy to avoid thinking about it. Or maybe she's trying to prove something." I butchered that. If what he said was true, Izuku was sure that Yin was upset to step away from detective work to take on a teaching role, because it must stop her from achieving a goal she was trying to accomplish as an officer. He felt bad. "Yin?" She turned to Izuku, her eyes already angry. He swallowed hard. "She really got that cold glare down. I know it doesn't mean much coming from me, but being a teacher is a good way to make a difference in the community, much like a detective." Yin scoffed, crossing her arms. "Right, because molding young minds is exactly the same as taking down criminals." Izuku shook his head. "No, but it's still about protecting people, just in a different way. As a detective, you work to stop crime and bring justice, but as a teacher, you can help shape the next generation so they don't end up on the wrong path in the first place. You're guiding them, giving them the tools to be stronger, smarter, and capable of protecting themselves and others." Yin's gaze flickered, but remained silent. Izuku's hesitant before adding, "And honestly, if anyone's strong enough to handle a classroom full of future heroes, it's you. They could learn a lot from someone like you." For a moment, she didn't respond, just watching him with those piercing dewdrop eyes. Her face, though very subtle, reacted the same way it did when he called her pretty the first time they met. Tadashi gave a slow nod, keeping his eyes on her in case she'd blow up again. "I want you to take a break from undercover work. When was the last time you were yourself for a week, Yin?" "I'm doing this for you. I need to keep my officers in good shape before they break. This job will help add skills to your belt. It's not a vacation, so don't slack off. I'll be expecting a report when you get back." Toshiaki patted her on the back, Yin rolling her eyes off to the side. "Yes, sir." "I suppose it's settled," Aizawa sighed, revealed. "Midoriya, why don't you show her around before going to homeroom?" I know Joke had to take like a 5-minute break of me laughing when I saw Ladybug was in this chapter. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this oh so much. See you all tomorrow.